Wearing glasses. You need glasses to see clearly. Kids call you four eyes. Your glasses fog up when you eat hot food. They slide down your nose when you sweat. Sports are harder because they bounce around. Rain makes them useless. You have to clean them constantly. Everyone thinks wearing glasses is annoying, but there's a hidden advantage. Studies show that people who wear glasses are seen as smarter and more trustworthy. Researchers did experiments where the same person wore glasses in one photo and didn't wear them in another. People rated the glasses photo as more intelligent, more competent, more reliable. This isn't just random, it's called the glasses effect. Your brain associates glasses with reading, with studying, with being educated. So when someone wears glasses, people automatically think they're smarter, even if nothing else changes. This helps in job interviews, in school presentations, in any situation where you want people to take you seriously. You're not just seeing better. You're being seen as smarter without saying a word. Being a night owl. You can't fall asleep early. When everyone goes to bed at 10, you're wide awake. Mornings are torture. Waking up for school feels impossible. Your brain doesn't turn on until noon. Parents and teachers think you're lazy. They say just go to bed earlier, but you can't. Your body doesn't work that way. This is called being a night owl, and it's not a choice. It's biology. Your circadian rhythm runs differently. But here's the advantage. Research shows night owls score higher on intelligence tests. They have better memory. They're more creative. Scientists think this happens because staying awake at night required smarts back in human history. It was dangerous. You needed to be alert, sharp, ready for threats. So the people who stayed up late and survived passed down those smart genes. Night owls also get uninterrupted time. While everyone sleeps, you have silence. No distractions, no interruptions. This is perfect for deep work, for creative projects, for actually thinking. You're not broken for being a night owl. You're built different, crying easily. Someone says something slightly mean and your eyes water. You watch a sad movie and tears stream down your face. You get frustrated and cry even though you don't want to. People tell you to toughen up, to stop being so sensitive, to control it. But you can't. The tears just come. This feels embarrassing, like a weakness. But crying easily is actually connected to emotional intelligence. People who cry easily feel emotions more deeply. They process feelings faster. They understand what others are going through better. Research shows that people who cry have higher empathy. They're better at reading emotions in other people's faces, better at understanding when someone needs help, better at connecting with people on a real level. Crying also releases stress hormones from your body. It's literally cleaning out the chemicals that make you feel bad. So when you cry, you feel better faster than people who hold it in. Those people carry the stress around. You release it. Crying easily isn't weakness. It's emotional processing happening faster than most people experience. Social awkwardness. You don't know what to say in conversations. Small talk feels impossible. You say something weird and everyone goes quiet. You replay embarrassing moments in your head for years. Social situations drain you. You'd rather be alone than deal with the awkwardness. Everyone else seems to know the rules. You don't. This feels like a curse. But social awkwardness comes with hidden advantages. Socially awkward people tend to be more honest. They don't play social games as well, so they just say what they actually think. This makes them trustworthy. People know you're not faking. You're not performing. You're just being real. Research also shows that socially awkward people are often smarter than average. Their brains are busy processing complex thoughts. Social rules feel simple and boring to them, so they never learned them well. They were thinking about more interesting things. Socially awkward people also form deeper friendships. They don't collect surface-level friends. They find a few people who actually get them, and those friendships go deep. Quality over quantity. Your awkwardness filters out people who only care about smooth social performance. The ones who stay are the real ones. ADHD. You can't sit still. Your mind jumps from thought to thought. You start projects and don't finish them. Teachers say you're not applying yourself. Parents think you're not trying hard enough. Homework takes forever because you keep getting distracted. You lose things constantly. Forget what you were just doing. This is ADHD, and society treats it like a problem that needs fixing. But ADHD comes with real advantages. People with ADHD are more creative. Studies show they come up with more ideas, more unusual solutions, more original thoughts. Their brain makes connections others miss. Because it's jumping around, it sees links between things that seem unrelated. ADHD also creates hyperfocus. When something actually interests you, you lock in completely. Hours pass and you don't notice. You get more done in that hyperfocus state than most people do in a week. You're also better in crisis situations. When things go wrong, your brain is already used to chaos. You handle emergencies better than people whose brains work in straight lines. ADHD isn't a broken brain. It's a different operating system, one that has advantages in the right situations. Being pessimistic, you expect things to go wrong. While everyone's excited about a plan, you're thinking about what could fail. People call you negative, a downer, Debbie Downer. They say you should be more positive. Look on the bright side, but you can't. You see the problems, the risks, the ways it could all fall apart. This seems like it makes life worse, but pessimism has hidden advantages. Pessimists are better prepared. When things do go wrong, they already thought about it. They have a backup plan. Optimists get blindsided. Pessimists saw it coming. Research shows pessimists make better decisions. They consider risks that optimists ignore. They don't jump into things without thinking. They calculate. They prepare. They protect themselves. Pessimists also experience less disappointment. When you expect things to go wrong, you're rarely surprised. When they go right, it's a bonus. Optimists expect good outcomes. So when reality hits, they crash hard. You're already at realistic expectations. Being pessimistic isn't being negative. It's being realistic in a world that doesn't always go the way you hope. Stubbornness. Once you decide something, you don't change your mind easily. People try to convince you. You don't budge. Teachers say you're difficult. Parents say you're hard-headed. Friends get frustrated because you won't just go along. You dig in. You hold your position. You refuse to back down. This makes you seem inflexible, annoying, hard to deal with. But stubbornness is actually persistence in disguise. Stubborn people finish things others quit. They don't give up when it gets hard. They keep pushing, keep trying, keep going. Research shows that stubborn people achieve more long-term success. They stick with goals longer. They don't get discouraged as easily. They have the grit to keep going when results don't come fast. Stubbornness also means you have strong convictions. You know what you believe. You don't just follow the crowd. You think for yourself. This makes you harder to manipulate, harder to pressure, harder to control. Your stubbornness protects you from making decisions just because everyone else is doing it. Stubbornness isn't just being difficult, it's having a backbone. Forgetfulness. You forget where you put your keys. You walk into a room and forget why. You miss appointments, forget birthdays, lose track of conversations. People get annoyed. They think you don't care, that you're not paying attention, that you're irresponsible. You feel bad about it. You try to remember, but things just slip through. This seems like pure disadvantage, but forgetfulness has a hidden upside. Your brain is constantly filtering, deciding what's important and what's not. If you're forgetting small details, it means your brain is focused on bigger things. Research from the University of Toronto shows that forgetting is actually a feature of intelligent memory systems. Brains that forget unimportant details are better at making decisions, better at seeing patterns, better at understanding the big picture. They don't get stuck on irrelevant information. Forgetful people also forgive easier. They literally forget the small annoyances, the minor conflicts, the petty arguments. They move on faster because they don't hold on to every little thing. Your forgetfulness isn't broken memory. It's your brain deciding that some things aren't worth the storage space. Monotone voice. Your voice doesn't go up and down much. You sound the same whether you're excited or bored. People think you don't care, that you're not interested, that you have no emotion. Teachers think you're not engaged. Friends think you're not excited about their news. Your voice just doesn't show what you're feeling. This makes communication harder. People misread you. But a monotone voice has unexpected advantages. Studies show that people with less expressive voices are seen as more authoritative, more serious, more credible. When you speak, people listen differently. They focus on your words instead of your tone. They take you more seriously. Leaders with monotone voices are often more effective because people hear the content, not the performance. Your flat voice also stays calm in crisis. When everyone else is panicking and voices are rising, yours stays steady. This makes you the calm presence people turn to. Your voice doesn't betray stress or fear, even when you feel it. A monotone voice isn't lack of emotion. It's emotion staying internal, while your voice stays professional. Daydreaming. You space out in class. The teacher calls on you, and you have no idea what was just said. You miss instructions because your mind wandered. You're thinking about something else while people are talking to you. Parents and teachers say you need to focus, pay attention, stay present. But your mind keeps drifting. This seems like a focus problem, but daydreaming is connected to creativity and intelligence. When you daydream, your brain's default mode network activates. This is the part that makes connections, solves problems, comes up with new ideas. Research shows people who daydream more have better working memory. They're better at creative problem solving. They score higher on intelligence tests. Daydreaming is your brain working on problems in the background, making connections you're not consciously aware of. That's why solutions suddenly pop into your head during boring moments. Your daydreaming brain was working on it. People who never daydream miss this background processing. They only think about what's directly in front of them. You're thinking about everything all at once. Daydreaming isn't distraction. It's your brain's creative mode. Late bloomer. Everyone else hits puberty before you. They get taller, their voice changes, they start dating. You're still waiting. You feel behind, immature, like you're stuck while everyone else grows up. Sports are harder because you're smaller. Social situations are weird because you look younger. You feel left out, like you're missing something everyone else has. This feels terrible in the moment. But late bloomers have documented advantages. Research shows people who develop later often end up more successful. They had more time to build other skills, while everyone else was focused on physical changes and dating. They developed their mind instead, their personality, their talents. Late bloomers also tend to be more empathetic. They remember what it's like to be on the outside, to not fit in, to struggle. This makes them kinder, more understanding, better friends. And physically, late bloomers often end up healthier. Early puberty is linked to health problems later. Late puberty gives your body more time to develop properly. You're not behind, you're just on a different timeline. And that timeline comes with benefits people who developed early don't get. Being easily distracted. You can't focus on one thing for long. A noise pulls your attention away. A thought pops in your head, and you follow it. You start one task and notice something else that needs doing. You're constantly shifting focus, never staying on one thing. People say you have no attention span, no discipline, no focus. Teachers get frustrated. Your grades suffer. You feel scattered, like you can't control your own mind. This seems like pure disadvantage, but easy distraction is actually high environmental awareness. Your brain is noticing everything. Most people filter out background information. You don't. You catch it all. This makes you better at noticing threats, opportunities, changes, things others miss completely. Research shows easily distracted people are more creative. Their brain makes more connections because it's taking in more input. They see relationships between things that focused people never notice. Easily distracted people are also better multitaskers. They can handle multiple streams of information at once, switch between tasks without getting stuck. Your distraction isn't lack of focus. It's wide-angle focus instead of narrow. Both have value. Yours just looks different. Impatience. You hate waiting. Lines drive you crazy. Slow processes make you frustrated. When you want something, you want it now. People tell you to be patient, to wait your turn, to slow down, but you can't. The waiting feels unbearable. This makes you seem pushy, demanding, difficult, but impatience is connected to higher intelligence. Research shows impatient people have faster processing brains. They think faster, understand faster, come to conclusions faster. So waiting for others feels like torture because their brain is moving at half speed. Impatience also drives action. While patient people wait for the right moment, impatient people just start. They make things happen. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They move. This gets results. Impatient people are also less tolerant of inefficiency. They spot waste, unnecessary steps, bad processes. They push for improvement because the slow way drives them crazy. Your impatience isn't lack of self-control. It's a brain that processes fast in a world that moves slow. Skepticism. You don't believe things easily. Someone tells you a fact. You question it. Someone makes a claim. You want proof. People say you're negative, cynical, hard to convince. They get frustrated when you don't just accept what they say. You ask for evidence, for sources, for logic that makes sense. This makes you seem difficult, like you don't trust anyone. But skepticism protects you. Skeptical people are harder to scam, harder to manipulate, harder to fool. They don't fall for misinformation. Don't spread fake news. Don't believe everything they read online. Research shows skeptical people make better decisions. They gather more information, consider more angles, don't jump to conclusions. They protect themselves by not accepting everything at face value. Skepticism also makes you a better thinker. You evaluate claims. You look for evidence. You use logic. You don't just believe something because everyone else does. This independent thinking is rare. Most people accept what they're told. You question it. Your skepticism isn't being negative. It's being smart enough to verify before believing. So which of your disadvantages did you not realize was actually giving you an advantage? Drop it in the comments, because the thing you've been embarrassed about might be your secret weapon. And if you want more videos that flip your understanding of yourself, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.